So our wonderful student Barb asks, are there any tips for reading ahead while you are playing? What a terrific question. So let's take a look at what we have going on here. So this is Happy Birthday, and it's a fairly easy song. So when you're first learning a piece that's very complicated, I can't really expect you to be able to read ahead. Believe it or not, though, when you're reading music, you should actually be looking a little bit ahead of where you actually are by a beat or two, maybe even a whole measure, if you can do that, because it'll just kind of help you process the music more fluidly. Now, if you've never done this before, it may seem impossible, but it's not. So the first tip I have for you, what do you think it is? You know, you've known me a long time. Maybe you have, if you've been looking at the channel. What is the number one thing I almost always say that you should do to make things easier? And you can apply this to anything. Well, how about slow it down, right? Because if you're playing at lightning speed, you're not going to be able to look ahead of where you are. It also helps to know the song a little bit, or the piece rather, I should say, before you start looking ahead a bit, because if you're looking at something really complicated at first, chances are you're not going to be able to look ahead quite a bit, because a lot of your brain power's going to go into wherever you're looking on the music. But if I'm reading this, I'm going very, very slow, right? I'm starting this first measure. By the time I get to this chord here, I'm actually a whole measure over, we're actually where it says birthday, where I'm reading. And because I'm going slow, I can do that and handle it. Now when I hit this note, my eyes are already a whole measure over, pretty much. And it just makes things flow a little bit easier. Now the real key, though, is when you're between lines. So I'm at the top of this, or the last measure of this top line, going into the next line. So your eyes now have to go from where you are to the next line. Now, one thing I want to tell you, though, is it really helps to know your chords, scales, notes, any information you can grab, because the key to this is really taking a snapshot of it with your mind. It has a lot to do with memory as well, being able to just kind of look at it and memorize it, but that's kind of hard if you don't know all the things I just mentioned. So I'm taking a look at this last measure of this first line, and I know that, this is outlining an A major chord, A major 7. And because I know that, I can kind of look at it real quick and say, okay, that's what's going on. And now I'm already looking at the next line. It's kind of hard to do this and talk at the same time. So you're always looking ahead at where you are. The main key is to go slow, practice your scales, your chords, anything that can really help you look at notes in groups, like I talked about a minute ago, so you can process the notes better. So those are the few points that I have on reading ahead of where you are in the music. You want to start practicing reading ahead where you are in the music, but you might struggle a lot with it at first, and that's very, very normal, because you're probably used to just looking at wherever you are, and it does take a little bit of extra brain power, and especially with the memory, to kind of snapshot the measure you're looking at and looking ahead to where you're going from there. So that's what I recommend on how to tackle that issue. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed our lesson today. One thing I definitely want you to do, if you want to learn more about reading music, which of course you do, right? You'll want to head over to the channel page, youtube.com/lessons on the web, and you want to scroll down a bit to where it says learn and improve your ability to read music. So you want to check out, it's a whole playlist of lessons, actually, how to read music, and then how to read music faster, reading music supercharged, and then sight reading. You can learn a lot more about reading music there. And if you really want to take things to the next level, visit my website, pianolessonsontheweb.com. I'll make sure to include a link for you to learn more about my music courses and how they can help you learn more than ever before. So thanks, everybody. This has been You Know Who from You Know Where, and I'll talk to you in the next lesson. Thank you so, so much.